All right, welcome to this week's episode of Those Two Guys Talk Disney.
Hola.
Obviously, that's Jay. I'm Justin. This week, we're actually talking about Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Finally
Good
getting
old
to
G
the
classic.
one we originally was going to air on Halloween, and that didn't quite work out because of scheduling. We're still giving it to you. Now, before we actually get into this, though, I am going to suggest a topic for the next one. Holes. I love the movie Holes.
That was a good movie.
I watched it and I was like, I wonder if Jay be willing to cover this.
Stanley Yelnats. Is your last name your first name spelled backward?
Alright. Hocus Pocus. Before I read the synopsis, let me find... Okay. So, the release date, July 16th, 1993, by Walt Disney Pictures.
What day?
July 16th.
Okay, yeah. I think it said 13. For some reason, I'm like, no, it was 16. Okay. Oh, my.
It had a budget of $28 million. The box office on it was $51.7
And
million.
actually, it was initially a box office bomb.
Yes.
Possibly losing Disney around $16.5 million.
Oh, yeah. The reason it actually made so much money is actually because of the... Every year... They're rebroadcasting
Yeah,
it
largely
on...
through many annual airings on Disney Channel and Freeform.
Yeah. Let me see. Alright, the synopsis. Oh, actually, no. The rating first. I'm going to give the rating. It had 41% on Rotten Tomatoes and 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb. So, overall, pretty good. Decent rating.
Not too bad.
I figured Rotten Tomatoes would be a little bit higher, but it is what it is. The synopsis. After moving to Salem, Massachusetts, a teenager, Max Dennison, explores an abandoned house with his sister Danny and their new friend Allison. After dismissing his story, Allison tells as superstitious, Max accidentally frees a coven of evil witches who used to live in the house. Now, with the help of a magical cat, the kids must steal the witch's book of spells to stop them from becoming immortal. Dun dun dun.
On October 31st, 1693 in Salem, Massachusetts, Zachary Binks discovers his younger sister Emily was been whisked away to the woods by three witches, Winifred, Mary, and Sarah Sanderson. Binks confronts the Sanderson sisters.
Hold on. The Sanderson sisters.
Yeah.
Winifred, Bette Midler.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker is Sarah. Kathy, how do you say her last name?
I actually see it in person. Jimmy?
Yeah, let's go with that. Is Mary Sanderson.
Yeah.
Max is Omari Katz. Thora Birch is Danny. Vanessa Shaw is Allison. Sean Murray is Thackeray Binks.
Well, he is the person,
Yes.
not the voice of the cat.
I know. I was getting to that. Jason Marsden is the voice of Thackeray Binks.
You know,
And Doug Jones is Billy Butcherson.
You know, I did not realize that. I did not put it together until listening to Pop Meets World, and they said something about it on there about when he was talking on the episode. They were talking to Jason Marsden or whatever. Something got said about it, and I was like, "What? No."
Yeah, then you find out he's actually a very, very talented voice actor.
I was like, I was like, that was him that did the voice. I didn't even realize.
All right, so yes, this movie actually does open
In 1693 in Salem, Massachusetts.
and I got actually where that was filmed at too. For that opening scene, it was filmed in hold on. I know it's in here somewhere. Pioneer Village, used for opening scenes set in 1693.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So they actually had a Pioneer Village that they actually used for the scene.
That's pretty awesome.
Most of the film was filmed on a soundstage in Burbank, California. Any daytime scenes, though, was filmed in Salem and Marblehead, Massachusetts. Old burial hill used for scene where Max is accosted by Ice and Jay. Ernie and Jay. I don't know why they got the Ice.
But, anyways, Zachary confronts the witches in order to try to save Emily, which then they turn him into the black cat that you meet later on.
They curse him to have to live forever as a black cat.
Yeah.
As long as they can come back, the curse is still
forever with his guilt for not saving his sister.
Which sucks, man. If you think about it, what if he's allergic to cats? You just turned him into a cat. Is he still allergic to cats? If he died the whole time of sneezing because you're allergic to
having been alerted by Binks' friend Elijah, the town folks arrest the witches and sentence them to death. But before they hang them in town square, Winifred cast a curse that will resurrect the sisters during a full moon on All Hallows Eve if a virgin lights the black flame candle.
Okay, so
in the cottage.
We gotta talk about that. They have them all three hanging. And like he's asking what she did with his son. And she said, I don't know, cat's got my tongue. That's a pretty good line, dude. Yeah. Like, that's a pretty good pun. It really is. Because she literally told him what happened to his son. He just didn't put two and two together.
And of course, Binks devotes his life to guarding the cottage to ensure that nobody can bring the witches back. Now, speaking of Binks, growing up for the longest time, I thought his name was Zachary Binks.
I was going to say the same thing. I did not realize it was Thackeray.
Until I was a grown adult, and then I realized it is Zachary, TH, not Z. I'm like, oh, okay.
I did too. Well, nice I thought about that on the way over here. I was like, I didn't realize his name was Thackeray Binks.
I didn't for the longest time. I really didn't.
I thought it was Zachary Binks.
I really thought it was Zachary for the longest time.
I didn't realize his name was that either.
That's funny. This film was released in '93, and then when you're reading this, it says centuries later, on October 31st of 1993, teenager Max Dennison, who recently moved to Salem.
Yeah.
So apparently that's supposed to have taken place the year that this was released. That's funny.
Yeah. And so they've been dead for 300 years. And when it flashes forward, it's actually like a teacher telling the story.
Yeah.
And, dude, I gotta give this teacher some props, man. Because she is theatrical when she's telling.
Oh, yeah.
Dressed up as a witch, obviously, because it's Halloween. But actually, in her hand, like, you don't see the ball of whatever that was. You don't see it. But she's moving her hands around. You just don't see it. And then she does that whole little, and it actually flings out. And scares people around her. Freaking genius. Like, thinking like about that, being theatrical about it.
Of course, this is when you meet Max and
Allison.
And Allison. And Max tries to be all sly and give Allison his phone number. Trying to be all cool, like.
Well, he also tried to say that Halloween was created by the candy company.
It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
And it was Allison that's like, actually, it's based on this tradition of All Hallows Eve. And so it kind of like, then he's like, well, if Jimi Hendrix comes back tonight, let me know, and then hands her his number, which,
like I said, he was trying to be all cool, about it, like, come on, pretty fly thing to give her a
decent game, dude. I gotta give it to him, man. Decent game.
Although, she's pretty fly, too, though. What she does is fucking...
Yeah, because later on the outside, she rides past him and talks to him.
Well, he rides up to her and starts talking to her, and...
She hands him a piece of paper.
And he thinks she's giving him her number.
And he opens it, it's his number.
I was like, oh,
dude, man. That is, without a shadow of doubt, that is a rejection. That is a... No, don't even try.
That is a good burn right there. Oof.
Oh, man.
She got you. Of course, then he's riding his bike home, and he rides through the cemetery, cuts through the cemetery, and that's when he runs into Ice and...
Jay.
Or Ernie, Jay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're still in it. They call him Hollywood.
Asking him for a bud, asking him for smokes. And when he said no, he doesn't do any of that. Asking for drinks, he said no, he doesn't do that. So then they gang up on him and steal his shoes.
They call him Hollywood because he just moved there from Las Vegas. Then they realize he's wearing these nice shoes. They're like, let me get your shoes.
And yeah, they jack him. Like, how did his parents not stop him when they realized he didn't have his shoes?
Of course,
on?
Arnie has the word ice shaved into the back of his hair.
That was a really big thing in the 90s, though.
Like, what?
Like, late 80s, early 90s, that was a really big thing.
But yeah, like, he comes in the house and flies by and his parents see him, and like, they kind of say something to each other, but he's not wearing his shoes. But why would they not stop him? Like, hey, where's your shoes?
Where's your brand new shoes we just bought you?
Like,
these obviously are not cheap shoes because they're Nikes.
Like, they didn't bother to ask him or nothing. Like, they say something to each other about it, but don't even say a word to him. Just go on upstairs. It's like,
And then, like, okay, Danny is your classic little sister. She's hiding in the closet. She's going to try to scare her brother.
And of course, you know, Max is daydreaming about Alice, man.
While hugging his pillow. And like I said, Danny's your classic little sister. Like, she's the annoying little sister. It's basically all it is. For at least this part of the movie.
Who's Alice?
After she jumps out of the closet and scares him. And then he gets up and he's playing the drums. Come to find out, he can actually play the drums.
Yeah, freaking drummer. You know, I know this movie came out years after that, but the way that room was set up with the drums right there, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Just because the way the drums were sitting in that room, like, it just kind of reminded me of that setup.
You know what, dude? When I was as a kid, I wanted his room. He had a pretty decent sized closet. He had a decent sized bed. He had stairs that led up to a widow's peak.
Like that little skylight.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not counting, he had a set of drums.
That was a pretty cool setup.
But I was 93. I was 7.
I'd say my brother would have been born just a year before that.
I was 7.
And I'm 4 years older than him, so yeah, I'd have been like, I would have been 3 going on 4.
When this movie came out. So I
would have been 3 because he would have just been born. He would have turned 1 that next year, and I would have turned 4.
You should have been just about to turn 5.
Or just turning 5, yeah, I would turn 5 with 4 years apart. So yeah, I've been like 3 or 4. So you have been like 5 or 6.
But when I first watched this movie, I was 7.
Well, yeah.
So I was actually the same age as Danny.
But I'm just saying, in '93, you would have been like 5 or 6.
So I was actually the same age as Danny in the movie because Danny's like 7 or 8. I thought she was super cute. As I've gotten older, it's like, damn, Allison's hot. Because, you know, then it's weird to look at a little kid like that. But, yeah, huge crush on the chick that played Danny. Because I was that age.
Thora Birch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no lie though.
But I wanted his bedroom.
No lie. I kind of wanted that room too. Like it was a cool setup room. Like I
yeah, it was an awesome setup room. Like I don't know why he's complaining. Like
I would have.
Their house is a really nice house.
I would have loved to have them little steps to go up to a little skylight. You know.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But Danny tells him he has to take her trick or treating. She's refusing. She screams. The next scene's them going trick or treating.
And he's dressed like a little leaguer.
He just wears a baseball cap and sunglasses. Like, he doesn't actually say he's a little leaguer. Like, his dad asked him, what are you supposed to be? He said, a rap star.
And he turns his head. The dad, no, here. He turns his head all sideways.
And they take a picture, and then you actually see him out trick-or-treating. And they end up running into Ice and Jay, along with a bunch of other boys, stealing people's candy, smashing pumpkins, basically just causing havoc on Halloween.
They try to steal Danny's candy, and she's not having it.
But Max tries to avoid them first. It's Danny that just goes out of her way to cause problems.
She just walks up to him and starts talking smack.
Like, there's no reason, like, she can't listen to what he's saying. Like, look, I just don't want to deal with these guys. These guys are kind of being rude.
So then he just walks up and gives him his backhand. Like, here, just take it.
You know, if she would have just listened to him, they could have avoided that entire thing, and they could have kept going, and he'd been upset, but...
And then they're like, oh, you're supposed to be, and that's when Danny's like, he's a little leaguer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, why are you getting your brother in so much trouble?
Like, she would have felt really bad if they would have just beat him up right there.
Yeah. And of course...
But I think if he would have explained it to her, like, look, these guys are actually bullies. There's a lot of them right there. There's no way I can actually physically take all of them. I think it probably would have went a little different. Of course,
then that all goes down. Then they kind of have a brother-sister fight, and then
they make up. They happen to be in front of a rich person's house,
which happens to be Allison's house.
Which actually, her line, Danny's line, going in like when they're like, "Whoa," about the house, and she goes, "Yeah, rich people." She goes, "They'll probably make us drink cider and bob for apples," and then they go in and it's just a bowl of candy, like, and they're full size candy bars. And not just candy bars, but like Raisinets. And like I was actually started looking at this.
And her and Max were running, I was like going through, and then here comes Allison.
Yeah. In like a Victorian dress.
And of course, you know what she does? You guys want some cider?
Yeah. Of course, Max says yes, and Danny says no. Well, then they start talking about, like, her and Danny start talking about how, you know, Danny's just learning about the Sanderson sisters, and
I like what
Allison
Danny
brings
says,
up
though.
the fact that
Max likes your huevos.
Yes.
What do you call those, Max? Huevos.
But they actually start talking about how, you know, Danny's learning about the Sanderson sisters, and then Allison brings up the fact that her mom actually used to run the museum.
Yeah.
And it was Max that said, well, let's go check it out. So Danny's trying to convince him not to.
He's like, oh, come on, Max. No, let's not go, Max. Come on.
And he convinces her that's a good idea to go, and that he will dress up as Peter Pan the next year with her. Tights included. I want to know, did he follow through with that?
I want to know that too.
Or did this whole thing just kind of ruin Halloween for him? Because I don't know if I'd actually do Halloween anymore.
Actually, if you read the book that has the sequel in it, it does mention that Max doesn't like having anything to do with Halloween after this. Because, like, his daughter's into it, and Max, like...
Oh, shit, that got right, sorry.
Like, Max doesn't like having it, or didn't like talking about Halloween, doesn't want to have nothing to do with it. Yeah. Of course, the book sequel is different than the actual sequel they came out with.
Yeah, which we will actually discuss next Halloween time. But yeah, they end up going, and of course nobody can see, and Max ends up finding a lighter. Issue here.
A Zippo style lighter, which
Zippos do not come with fluid in them.
No, and this lighter's been sitting there for who knows how many years. There's so many cobwebs and dust in here. This place ain't been touched in who knows how long.
Yeah, there's no way there'd be fluid still in it, even if it came with fluid in it.
It would have evaporated out. There's no way that lighter would be lighting.
But yeah, it lights perfectly.
Yeah.
With a decent sized flame on it, which is really hard to do with a Zippo, unless you pull out your wick a lot. But then it burns your wick up more, and then them are a pain to replace.
Yeah.
But he finds the ladder, he lights it, she ends up finding the light switch and turns it on. And they're looking around, they're actually looking at the book, she's reading a little description of the book. To Danny, he ends up seeing the black flame candle and asks what that is, and she tells him it's the black flame candle, and he goes over there and goes, well, let's light it up.
He reads a little description thing on the wall by it that says something about virgin lighting the black flame candle and all that, and just ignore the it's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
And then lights it.
Not right away.
Well, because they're trying to talk him out of it.
But then he does end up lighting it because they're getting ready to all right, let's go now. And then right before they get ready to walk out, he stops to back around, lights it right before they walk out.
Yeah, that's when he says, "This is just a bunch of hocus pocus." And they end up, once everything kind of starts shaking.
All the lights start popping, power goes out, and everything's shaking.
He goes, what happened? Danny goes, a virgin lit the black flame
And then
candle.
all of a sudden, candles start coming on. Lighting up.
And sorry. They
A virgin with the black flame candle.
So they hide. Danny hides behind the counter. And the witches come in and they're smelling, Mary's smelling kids.
Like, I smell children.
And they find Danny.
Danny pops up. Sisters!
She basically she tries to full on go with the witch thing.
Like she tries to play it off.
To be fair, perfect idea. Go with the witch thing. You're dressed as a witch.
Yeah.
You're acting like one. Go with it.
She plays it off pretty well, too. Not gonna lie.
She even talks like them. It is I.
If she talks to him for a good, probably, 5-10 minutes? Trying to get him to buy the fact that she's a witch. And
then they're still talking about eating her. That's when, Max comes in to try to save her. And then Winifred does her little magic thing, like slam him against the wall. And
well, I think Binks comes in.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's about the time he actually comes in and jumps on her face so they can get out. And Max decides to climb up and light the lighter above in the sprinkler.
Oh, yeah,
and
he's like,
turns it on.
Hey, stop! I got don't make me use the ring of death or whatever, the burning ring of death or whatever.
Yeah. The burning rain of death.
And they're like, what? And they go, he made fire. I mean, thank goodness.
And then water turns on. They think they're burning or something, so they're rushing around.
And they like fall to the floor like, ugh. So they all get Max and Allison and Danny get out of there. And not before grabbing the book. Not before grabbing the book.
Because Binks told him to grab the book.
Like, get the book.
Then he goes, you can talk. Then he smacks him in the face. And yeah, they grab the book, they run out. Which, okay. So far, man, it's making sense. Max is a virgin, he lit the black flame candle, he brought the witches back. 100% I can follow this perfectly. The magic's actually easy to follow.
Yeah.
Like, some of the movies we watched, the magic's not so easy to follow, like Twitches. It wasn't easy to follow. This movie is very easy to follow.
Because about 5 minutes later, whatever, then the Sandersons realized, wait, or Winifred was like, it's water.
I know, then Mary's just standing there going, refreshing.
So then they go outside to chase after them, and they stop again. They're like, because they don't know what a road is.
Well, they've never seen a paved road.
Yeah.
They knew that it was a road. They just didn't know it was a paved road. They thought it was a black river.
Yeah.
Then they're completely 100% willing to sacrifice Sarah.
Yeah,
they throw her out there.
They shove her out there like, you test it.
And she goes, it's firm as stone.
Jumping around, and all of a sudden here comes a fire truck, I think.
Because the sprinkler system got lit off, or got set off. So the fire truck comes.
So the witches hide under the sign like they're not going to be seen.
In the bush.
Like, what?
At least they hid in the bush.
It's like, what in the world? Meanwhile, the kids make it back to town. They run into what they think is a cop.
Come find out it's just a dude in a costume.
And like they're trying to explain to him what's going on. And of course Danny said something about him being a virgin. And he's like, so he pulls aside like, are you really a virgin?
I know, dude. He was throwing so much.
I was like, dang.
So much shade on him, man.
Like,
that was unnecessary.
Like poor Max. Getting called out for being a virgin.
Right in front of the chick he's really into.
Like, I mean, dude, he's a kid in school still. I mean, give him props, man.
I know, right?
Like, you give the kid props that he ain't just going around all willy-nilly.
But then they also realize, they got to get to their parents. They have to get to their parents to understand what's going on and for help. They get to this party, this Halloween party, which actually was filmed at the Old Town Hall in Salem.
Nice.
Still got a few of them.
Make their way through the crowd.
They finally found their parents. By the way, their dad, perfect pun. Because he goes, Dad. He goes, no, I'm Dad Chula. Perfect pun. It says Dad in it.
Their mom's got
Madonna.
with the pointy.
Oh, that was weird. Max jumps up on stage to try to, when they realize...
The Sandersons are back. The Sandersons are back.
We kind of skipped ahead a little bit, dude. Because first they go into the graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
That's where Billy comes back.
Meet Billy, yeah.
Then they escape down, which Billy is supposed to be Winifred's lover, who cheated on her with Sarah. So Winifred poisoned him and stowed his mouth shut with a dulled needle.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
But then she brings him back to life to do her bidding, to chase the kids.
So he chases the kids down a storm drain. That's when they find out that Banks can't be killed.
Yeah.
Because he gets ran over by the bus. That is actually carrying the Sanderson sisters. That Sarah is driving.
Zachary's Big's man, I hate when that happens.
That's when they actually go into town to try to talk to the cop and talk to their parents.
It's funny though, because they get to talk to the cop and they take off, and then his girlfriend comes out and she's like, "Everything okay?" He goes, "Yeah, just a couple kids. I thought I was an actual cop."
No, he said just a couple kids pulling my chain. And then once they actually talk to their parents, they're trying to explain to their parents about this, and they're just not. They're not understanding. They're thinking they're just high on sugar.
Yeah.
And Max jumps up on stage. He's telling the whole crowd that, the Sanderson sisters are back, that he lit the black flame candle. It was real. They're back. Well, then all three of them come up to the stage.
And Winifred's like, "Thanks for that introduction."
They started singing,
"I put a spell on you."
And
which at the same time actually was a spell that they were putting on him.
Yeah. Obviously, they're going to have Bette Midler sing.
Yes. Yep.
Obviously.
That was the whole purpose.
But I like the other two played backup for her.
Well, and Sarah, the other two actually can sing too.
Oh, I know.
Because Mary sang in Sister Act.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sarah Michelle or Jessica, Jessica Parker actually can sing too.
Yeah. But yeah, but they're actually just basically up there just as a little group. Actually end up cursing the town to dance all night until they die, kind of thing. And so the parents are just getting into it. The kids are trying to get them not to listen, but they're too far gone. They realize the parents can't help. So then they take off. Well, obviously the witches follow them. And they're hiding in an alley behind a restaurant. So the restaurant's throwing out sludge and stuff into the alley.
And actually we also forgot about the fact when they get off the bus, they're walking through town and she's smelling kids but can't see them because they're all in costume. Yeah. And then this guy's out past the canyon dressed like the devil.
That's when they had their brooms.
Yeah.
Too. So that's actually after the bus. Or was it before the bus and that's why they were on the bus? Maybe because of that's why they were on the bus.
Yeah, because they lost somebody. I think they originally had the brooms on the bus. And then when they had them sitting outside of
what they thought was a devil's house,
the kids stole their brooms.
They thought that was the devil, and his wife was Medusa.
And fun fact, that man and woman are actually brother and sister in real life, which is kind of weird that they had them playing husband and wife in this movie.
Little tangent here real fast. In Tyler Perry's movies, the guy that plays Mr. Brown and the lady that plays Cora, his daughter, They're actually husband and wife in real life.
It's so odd when they do things like that to me. I don't understand.
But yeah, some kids dressed up as the Sanderson sisters steal the witches' brooms. But they're so back in the alley where they're hiding behind like some old stoves,
Like seafood restaurant.
Yeah. So all they're smelling is the scrum from the restaurant, and then Allison accidentally opens the oven, gets the idea of the kiln at the high school.
It's funny because Mary's like, I smell squad. She meant squid. She did not pronounce it squid.
Well, so the kids actually go to the high school. They set up the kiln with a tape, with a radio in there with the tape playing French in it.
But it's cool because Max is on like the loudspeaker,
talking like so much smack,
like full on like a radio announcer, like
talking so much smack to him.
He's like, "Oh, welcome to the like a full on radio announcement radio show."
And those scenes were filmed at Phillips Elementary School.
Nice.
Not even at a high school.
An elementary school had to go kill him in it like that?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh. All right.
But they end up shoving getting the witches in the kiln, shutting it, turning it on, which gets to like 1,000 degrees or something like that. Ends up burning the witches.
Like a whole Hansel and Gretel thing that pushed the witch into the oven.
And the smoke coming from is green.
Yeah.
How did they not realize the smoke's green? But it's literally like they end up heading home, which the exterior of Max and Danny's house
well, you see him dancing
is a private residence on Ocean Avenue in Salem.
And a fun fact, that courtyard they're dancing in, out in front of that, is also the same area where they filmed the opening scenes for Friends.
Nice.
With the water fountain and stuff. Same area.
Nice.
Yeah. Found that out. I don't remember where I was reading that at.
But they go back to Max and Danny's house, and Allison like basically just spends the night with Max, all cuddled up next to him on the stairs while Danny and Bing sleeps on the bed. And hell of a game on Max. You know, gives her his number earlier in the day, winds up spending the night with her, and by the end of the night. Not the whole night, because she wakes up at like 1 o'clock and realizes it's 1, she needs to hurry and get home. But they decide to open the book, which sends a light into the sky. And then they discover that salt can actually, combat the witches, which is kind of cool. But the witches come steal Danny and the book, and they're back there making their potion. Well, when you get back there, you realize that they actually have 3 kids. 2 of them boys, and 1 is Danny. The 2 boys are Ice and Jay. They're hanging in cages.
Yeah.
Well, Allison comes up with a way for them to get Danny back, which is they're going to put tape over the lights of the SUV. Well, the whole time they're coming up with this plan, Sarah is actually flying overhead singing. And she tracks all the kids to go to their house because they're ready to kill all the children in Salem. And, Max and Allison finally do get there in a Ford Explorer. Allison stays outside. Max goes in and says, I know something you don't know about daylight savings time. And Allison flips on the lights about that time, which makes them think that the sun's coming up and they're going to die. And they end up leaving with Danny. Danny's like, oh, I want to see him burn. And Allison's the whole time going, trying to get her to get in the vehicle. And then she realizes what's going on. And she goes, oh, and she hurries and runs over. And they get in, and Max is driving. And then this is the best part, and it actually does play into the second movie also, where they're new brooms. Winifred is actually on a broom. Sarah is on a mop. And Mary's on a vacuum. But Winifred is actually like flies up next to the window and actually asks Max for his driver's permit. How does she know what a driver's permit is? She's been dead for 300 years.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But yeah, that right there. That's the same water fountain and using Friends.
Nice.
Yep.
But yeah, like how does she know what a driver's permit is?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's actually located on Warner Bros. Studio Tour in Hollywood. The fountain is a prominent feature of the studio tour, previously located at Warner Brothers Ranch, a sister facility to the studio. It also appears in other productions, including Dennis the Menace, Bewitched, The Monkees, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Hocus Pocus.
Huh.
Wait, that's kind of cool. It's kind of neat little fun fact there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question though that she pulled up and asked for that. Because, like, how would you know if you've been dead over hundreds of years? Like
300 years. She's been dead for 300 years. How do you know a driver's
I'm
permit
pretty
is?
sure they didn't have that back when they were riding horse and buggy.
But they end up going to the graveyard again, and that's when Billy comes back. And he actually grabs Max, and Max is like trying to ward him off with a pocket knife. He
grabs Mike's hand to grab the pocket knife to cut though. It's right off his mouth.
And then he starts talking.
Well, he starts coughing up like there was like crap in there, like moss and stuff coming out of his mouth. And fun fact, he actually had real moss in his mouth. For that, like they had like a little thing in there, the pouch that held him. So when they did that, the actual real moss flew out of his mouth. I don't know how long. I don't remember how long he actually had to hold him in there, but that's crazy.
You want to hear another fun fact? Not about this movie, but that's cool. Did you know in Candyman where they actually he gets covered in bees? Those are real live bees, and that's not a stunt double. That's actually him. Wow. He actually had it in his contract that he got paid so much money for every sting. So he ended up making like an extra $100,000 on the movie.
Nice.
Anyways, but Billy starts talking smack to Winifred about it, and Max goes, "Say whatever you want, just don't say it in my face." And they end up putting Danny in Billy's grave, and then surrounding it in salt, as Billy to protect Danny while they're fighting the witches.
Yeah, they were real insects, not CGI. Okay, let's see where the thing is. It's like telling me where it. I want to know. Okay. Not gonna tell me. Okay. I had this version of Billy. Among all the effects used to create Billy Wilson through the strangest was the real moss that he coughed up after cutting the stitches off his mouth. Okay. But it's not telling me. I can't find what.
Oh, they're probably not going to tell you how.
Well, there was I found it. I read about it somewhere, but I can't find it now.
That's all right.
I did it, but it had like a pouch, like some pouch thing in his mouth that they held him in or whatever. Oh, that's crazy. I don't think I could have held him in my mouth that long.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I don't know how long he had to hold him in his mouth, but I don't think I could have done it.
But
just feeling him in there fluttering it.
No, that's gross.
Oh.
But yeah, they put Danny in Billy's grave, surround it in salt, ask Billy to take care of Danny while they're fighting the witches. Billy does not succeed.
Well, she climbs out to
his
get
head.
Yeah, they kick his head off or whatever. She kicks his head off, so Danny climbs out to get his head for him, and
yeah, that's when she gets snatched.
Winifred swoops down, because they can't actually land because they can't touch hollow ground.
But there was enough potion that they brewed that after Max knocked it over when he's saving Danny for a second time.
Which is ironic because Thackeray did the same thing when he went to save his sister. He dumped the potion.
Yep. But there's just enough for one kid, so they were willing to steal Danny because she said some really mean comments about him. And Well, Thackeray ends up saving her. Binks, he ends up saving her because he dives off and he knocks a potion out of Winifred's hand. Max picks it up and he decides to drink it because then she has to take him instead of her.
Well, he grabs it and she snatches him up and hanging, trying to get it out of his hand, and he ends up drinking it. And he's like, now you have to take me instead of my sister.
Well, in the process, they're constantly fighting to the point she actually gets knocked off her broom. She starts turning into stone as she's trying to suck his soul out. Or his life essence, not his soul. His life essence.
Well, after both her sisters got turned to stone.
No.
Or did they turn to stone? I thought they turned to stone.
After she turns into stone, they explode from the sun. Because that's when dawn hits. She turns into stone from landing on the ground. Because it's after Max ripped his shirt to get out of her grasp after she turns to stone that she explodes.
Bye.
Because she falls onto the ground, she stands up, she picks him up, she's trying to suck his life essence, and literally as she's doing it, you see smoke rising from her boots. You see the sun starting to come up, and the stone's starting to creep up.
Meanwhile, Allison and I think Danny are holding the cord to the vacuum.
Yeah.
To hold Mary back. Then they let her go and she runs into here.
But she...
Bye.
She turns into stone while holding Max, but he's still glowing. Well, the sun comes up, hits Sarah first, and she explodes into like a pink color. Then it hits Mary, and Mary goes, bye, and then explodes into like a purple color. And then finally hits Winifred's statue, it explodes.
Now, as Winifred is turning to the statue, she does her whole, Buh!
Yeah.
She's calling for the book.
And the statue explodes into green dust. And then Danny's looking for Binks, realize he's dead.
He's laying up against a tree. Because he got flung into the tree.
Well, and after they broke the curse, they released his spirit. Well, then he ends up calling for her from elsewhere and say, you did it. You saved me. Now that the witches are dead, I'm free. I can be with my sister. And then you hear, Thackeray Binks.
What took you so long?
Can you believe I had to wait for a virgin to light a candle? I
had to wait 300 years for a virgin to light a black flame candle.
And, like, just kind of, then you see Billy just kind of,
I mean, come on, dude was getting roasted by a ghost for being a virgin.
I know, right?
Like, man.
But yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah, Billy just goes back to sleep. He's like, good night.
Yeah. But they do tell him goodbye. And
he's a good zombie.
Like, you never see them actually bury him again.
No, he just falls back in there and then they just kind of leave.
Yeah. And the funny part is they actually do end up showing the parents leaving the party. And the dad goes, man, I thought L.A. was party animals. Because it's morning. They literally partied all night. And that would be your movie.
That's a good classic, man.
It is.
I watch it every year.
100%. It's the perfect Halloween movie, to be honest with you.
It's a perfect family fun Halloween movie.
Yeah, and it does still have a little bit of spooky to it.
Got a little spooky moments to it. It's got some really funny moments to it, Good humor.
Bette Midler, though, perfect for Winifred. Perfect.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Like, over dramatic in places, but plays a really good witch.
What another glorious morning makes me sick.
But the chick that plays Mary plays that part perfectly. Then Sarah Jessica Parker
plays her role perfect.
Oh, is the ditzy witch? Oh yeah, 100%, dude. All three of them play it perfect. They make really good witches.
My favorite, my lucky rat's tail.
Yeah, which is still there after 300 years. Like, that's insane.
And the adult jokes you don't catch as a kid, like the bus driver, when they say they're looking for kids, it's like it'll take me a few tries. I don't think I can.
Can you give us kids? It'd take me a few tries, but I don't think it'll be a problem. Yeah, you don't notice that as a child.
As a kid, you're not really paying attention to it. You don't understand what that joke's supposed to mean.
That is a pretty good joke, though.
As an adult, when you're watching, you're like, oh, I get it now. And then Sarah Jessica Parker is just sitting on his lap while he's driving. Like,
yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, when at the beginning of the movie, when they drink Emily's life essence, and they come out, and she goes, "I'm beautiful. Boys will love me." Like, that was her thing. It's Winifred that wants to live forever, and Mary's just along for the ride. But out of the three sisters, I still think Mary's the best one. Because, like, she barks. She has that little whole thing where her jaw's sideways, kind of.
And then she, like, has a nose like a damn canine. Like a canine.
Yeah.
I smell. Squad.
Just, it's insane. Like,
I smell
100%, I don't think Winifred could do it without Mary. Sarah, they probably could, but not without Mary. Mary does everything for her.
A witch is nothing without her coven.
Yank, yank.
Of course, that's all.
That's the second one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because, I have my issues with that. With the background on them, the second one when it was kids. There's a couple issues I have with that whole thing.
That's kind of cool, though, but we won't get into that until next year. Reach out to us, guys, seriously. Those two guys, podcast1@gmail.com. I mean, we'll email you back. No issues.
Look us up on YouTube. Please subscribe and like.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, share.
You can comment on there. Any of the other podcasting things that we're on, and you listen to podcasts on, you find us. Subscribe to us on there, like us, comment on there as well.
Yep. Anything else? I think our next episode's probably going to be Holes. I want to try to do a Thanksgiving one, but I haven't found an actual Thanksgiving-themed Disney movie yet.
The only Thanksgiving-themed movie I can think of would be like Charlie Brown.
Which is not Disney.
I know. I don't know that
Beth
Disney...
actually found the movie Freebirds, which is a legit Thanksgiving-themed movie. Not Disney.
See, I don't know that Disney actually has one.
Yeah. So I'm going to look around. I'm going to try to find out. But that's... Yeah. Unless you guys know, then by all means, comment. Comment for us and kind of let us know. Because I have no idea. Beth mentioned one, and I don't remember what it was. But, like I said, reach out to us, please. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And we'll be back with you guys next week. See you later.
Catch you on the flip side.